most real estate investors might lead by saying, I got a great deal. Looking for a partner, a real estate deal. I'm looking for a partner and I'm paying you 12% or 50% of the profits. Well, the problem with that is everybody's got a deal. How do you make yourself different than everybody else?
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of A-List Conversations and Real Estate Investors Group. Today I got a very special guest. His name's Greg Herlean, and we're going to be talking about capital development. He's a self-directed IRA expert. He is going to teach us how to get people to invest in our deals with self-directed IRAs, and also how you can, as someone with an IRA account or a 401k, to get it into a self-directed IRA so you can invest into some of these deals with investors like myself or other people in the group. So Greg, how's it going? Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, really good. Thanks for having me, Julian.
Yeah, I appreciate you. So we have a lot to talk about. So you have $1 billion in transactions in real estate, right? And so I just wanted to, can you briefly tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got into real estate and wealth management?
Yeah, look, I got into real estate 23 years ago, mostly because it was a lifestyle thing. I saw from afar people living a way that I didn't grow up. And so I could see the way they were living, and I was just intrigued. I was like, whatever they're doing, I got to do that too. I got to figure it out. And it happened to be real estate. So truly, that's how I got into real estate. Dropped out of college. I ended up going back to college years later just to get my degree, but I dropped out of college and jumped into real estate. And the first biggest hurdle I fell into was capital raising.
Yeah.
I didn't have money. My family didn't have money. My friends didn't have money. So I was like, how do I raise money to flip real estate? So I got into self-directing actually when I was 23 years old.
Oh, wow.
Total by like accident. Yeah. I learned, someone was talking about it and I just overheard it, and I just was really intrigued by what a self-directed IRA was. And I learned that somebody with an IRA could be my partner or investor and fund my deal. Yeah. So I actually got into it totally by accident, and I was just in need of capital. And so my first real estate transaction of my life was somebody's IRA. They lent me all of the proceeds out of it. It was a little $60,000 condo, but they lent me all the funds, and I split the profits with them, 75 to him, 25% to me, and I flipped my deal. And then all the profits went back to his IRA. He didn't pay taxes on it, but that was my first experience, and actually why I got into kind of the money raising side and real estate. So after I did that, it was like a rinse and repeat, do it over and over and over again. And I was talking to more and more people about IRAs. I wasn't talking to them about real estate. I was talking about, hey, do you want to use your IRA to invest in real estate? So I was doing that all of the time. And so by default, I just started talking to more and more people and putting together syndications and loans and deals, and literally started raising tens of millions of dollars in different projects from different relationships that I was building and networking with. And it was, I never thought that I was going to be like the IRA guy. That was never my goal, is to be a self-directed IRA expert. My goal was to buy real estate, and I didn't have funding from different institutions. And I learned about self-directing. So that's actually how I got into it. And I just catapulted from there. People just kept, coming to me and asking me about different deals. And I became really good at finding a lot of money.
That's incredible. Wow. That's like finding a golden nugget in a pile of just a haystack. So that's incredible. And I mean, having $1 billion in transactions, under your belt. So you got into pretty big deals. I mean, to do that much in transactions, I mean, that's incredible. Like what kind of deals were you getting into, like when you were at the peak?
When I was at the peak raising a lot of money, we were doing commercial projects, just bigger commercial deals, land development, and then a lot of lending, a lot of hard money lending. So we'd raise a ton of money, lend it to developers that were doing residential lots and home residential development, commercial properties, some hotels. It was just it was more of sticking in kind of our area, which was mostly Nevada, a little bit of Utah. in Arizona. That's kind of what was our sweet spot. Didn't really ever get into California, maybe a couple deals. But we found our little niche in our area, and we also found there's just a lot of growth and a lot of upside. And so we just kept, I had partners. And so some of my partners would find deals, I'd find the money, and then there'd be oversight of the projects. But that's the kind of deals. There was a time where we were doing, I don't know, $5 to $10 million of new monies every month. It was pretty cool. But it was also a lot of work. I mean, when you're talking to individuals that are investing anywhere from $50,000 to $250,000, you divide that up by $5 or $10 million a month. It's a lot of people. And so we had a big team. We had 100 people on staff. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of fun. But that was kind of the height of things when we did that.
That's a lot of volume you were doing. Yeah, that's incredible. And so what inspired you to found Horizon Trust Company? And what services does it provide?
Yeah, look, so I founded Horizon Trust Company again by a bit of wanting to fix a problem in the industry. So because I was raising so much money with my partners, with our licensed company, we were raising so much money, and I would say 75% of the money came from people's IRAs. Yeah. So meaning, like, here, Julian, if I told you about a deal and you wanted to move your IRA and invest in my deal, I had to say, okay, Julian, if you want to invest in my deal, I got to get you set up with a trust company, get your money moved over there, because Fidelity is not going to let you move it into our deal. You got to go to special custodians that are licensed to do this, like mine is now. And so I would refer you to that company. And then when it got there, you can invest in my deal. Well, it sounds simple. This customer service and the speed was terrible. They would ruin the transaction. It would take 2 months to get done. It was confusing for my clients to get their account set up so they could invest with me. And this kept happening over and over and over again. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to fix it. I'm going to start my own trust company. So 14 years ago, I started my own trust company. And so that is what we do now. We actually, I spend 90% of my time and energy now on teaching people how a self-directed IRA works, helping them get their account set up so they're ready to use and lock those monies and invest in what they want. So I don't syndicate deals. I only do some of my own real estate deals every single year, but I focus primarily in teaching people how to unlock that retirement account, how to get access to it, and still not pay taxes. Maybe ever potentially if it's a Roth IRA, but if it's a traditional, type of retirement account, we'll get into that later. Defer the taxes on these gains and these real estate transactions. So that's how I got into it 14 years ago. We got a small staff. We got 40 or so employees, and we're a boutique little firm. We have over $1 billion in assets now as a custodian, and we just work really hard on great service and speed. That's what this is, people's retirement accounts, right? A lot of people spent a decade to 2 or 3 saving all this money. And so you can't be lazy about it. You can't give good service, and you can't take care of their accounts for them. So it's really important that we treat every account with care. That's what we do at Horizon Trust Company.
Yeah, that's incredible. And when you say you have $1 billion in assets under your custodian, that means you have $1 billion that people put in, and that you guys are putting into deals, right? And then it's just coming back in and growing, right, on its own.
That's right. Yeah. And so at Horizon Trust Company, we are not a fiduciary, or we're not someone that makes recommendations or gives advice on investments. So you'll never hear from me and my company say, hey, Julian, move over your IRA and invest in my deal. That's not how we work. What we do is we teach people how to get their account set up with us at Horizon Trust. So that $1 billion, which is like 7,000 accounts, they have their accounts, their money's rolled over to us, but then they instruct and tell us to send that money out in different investments that they choose: real estate, Bitcoin, businesses, tons of real estate. I'd say most of it's real estate. So what we do at Horizon is just help and facilitate that. And so we have $1 billion in assets, meaning, over the 7,000 clients, if you put together all of that value of their retirement accounts, it's over $1 billion.
Wow. That's incredible. Amazing. So let's get into it a little bit. Can you explain what a self-directed IRA is and how it differs from a traditional IRA or a 401k?
Yeah, sure. So Look, it's a simple thing. A self-directed IRA is not like a type of IRA. It's a descriptive term of the IRA. And let me again explain this. If you currently have a traditional IRA or a Roth or a Simple or a SEP or HSA, you can roll that over into, from wherever it's at, Charles Schwab, Fidelity, wherever you're at, can roll it over, transfer it to Horizon Trust Company. When it comes to Horizon Trust Company, our custodian, it becomes a self-directed IRA, traditional Roth. It's only self-directed. All the same rules apply regardless of where your money's at with the IRS, when you can take money, how you can take money. The only difference with a self-directed IRA is the actual the investments that you can invest in. You open up your basically menu of options when you self-direct to almost any kind of alternative asset. There's a few things you can't invest in, but for the most part, you can invest in anything. And so right now, if you're in the traditional marketplace, you can only invest in the stock market, indexes, mutual funds, stocks, bonds, the traditional regulated options that your financial advisor is going to make a fee on and might advise on. And by the way, it could be good for you. I'm not here to say it's bad for you either.
Yeah.
People that self-direct typically are more entrepreneur-like. They're more savvy, and they're looking to get some of or all of their money out of the stock market because maybe they don't like it, believe it, trust it, have confidence in it, and they like to invest in something more hard, like a hard asset, like real estate or precious metals or businesses. And so that's our typical client. A self-directed IRA account is just that. It's an account that we hold under custody in your name that allows you to pick and choose your investments. And then we just make sure that we report to the IRS any contributions or distributions that you make in your account.
Okay, that's amazing. So how can a real estate investor tap into the money that is in there? Like, where do we find the people? How can we tap into these IRAs and 401ks? For these property deals?
Sure. Yeah. Look. This is it's really nice and unique now from when I started. When I started, there wasn't so many real estate communities and social media and platforms, etc.
Yeah.
23 years ago. So, but first I'll say this: there's over 97 million IRAs in the United States. Yeah. Okay. So almost a third of America has a retirement account. Yeah. So basically, if you look left and you look right, either you or the person next to you has a retirement account. Okay. Yeah. In those retirement accounts, there's over $4.7 trillion. Wow. Tons of money. Wow. So the first message I share when people ask, how do I find them? They're all around you. Number two, you got to open your mouth and talk. You got to start the conversation. When I was 23 years old talking about self-directed IRAs, I was a real estate investor. But I was looking for new partners and lenders and people to, be with me and with their IRAs. So everywhere that I went, I was talking about self-directed IRAs at events, at conferences, at RIA groups, at meetups. Now, with social media, people should be talking about the option of what you can do with an IRA. Yeah. And most people just don't know that they can be your partner or they can lend to you with their IRA. And so where are these people? They're in your community. I mean, Julian, you got them all in your community and social media and Instagram and Facebook and the next conference you go to or webinar you're on. These communities all around you have retirement accounts. Some people have them, some don't. Now I'm in that place now where I have a retirement account, so I could be the one to lend to you. Back when I started, I had no retirement account, so you might have been the one to lend to me with your retirement account or partner with me on a retirement account. So they're all around you. You just really need to start having it as part of your everyday kind of conversation. When you're in business conversations and business groups, you should be talking about this subject. You don't have to be an expert. I wasn't an expert, until, basically 14 years ago. For 10 years, I was a real estate investor teaching people about self-directed, and I would introduce them to a trust company. A lot of my clients now are doing the same thing, that are raising money. They're talking about the subject, or they're interviewing me, or they're doing it on their own. And when a client raises their hand, or a potential investor raises their hand and says, yeah, I want to invest in my IRA, they introduce them to my staff, and my staff helps them, holds their hand, walks them through the process, gets their account set up. So you don't have to be the expert. You just need to start talking about it because it's all around you.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's great. And how does a conversation go with someone that could like be an investor in a deal? Like, how does that go? How do you approach that?
Yeah, sure. So, there's lots of different ways, but typically, like in this example, as I talk to you, even and I can role play with you, but typically, most real estate investors might lead by saying, "I got a great deal. Looking for a partner, a real estate deal. I'm looking for a partner, and I'm paying you 12% or 50% of the profits." Well, the problem with that is everybody's got a deal. How do you make yourself different than everybody else?
Yeah.
So how I would start my conversations, and when people ask me what I did at these conferences, is I said I'm in real estate, but what I do is I specialize in helping individuals use the retirement funds to partner with me or lend to me in my real estate deals and not pay taxes on their gains. That's what I do.
Oh wow.
I'm a professional that helps people unlock their retirement account and get access to it and partner with me on the deals. I do all the work. I find the projects. I do all the work. I flip them, sell them. And then my IRA partners then get their profits paid back to their IRA and they don't pay taxes. That was my message over and over again. I just said, I teach people how to do this. And then they're like, oh, cool, that's interesting. And then we talk about my real estate deal. But I don't lead with my real estate deal. I lead with self-directing. And I tell people, this is what I do. I teach people how to use their IRA so they can partner with me with their IRA and not pay taxes and not do any of the work. I'm going to do all the work. I'm going to find the deal, rehab the deal, fix the deal, whatever. That was what I was doing. I was flipping them. And so that's how you talk to them. And another way to talk to them is I often would bring up the subject of retirement accounts. I would be talking about like, hey, Julian, yeah, I actually help people with retirement accounts and real estate. But, first, like, Julian, do you have a retirement account? You say yes or no. Let's say you say yes. Cool. How do you like your retirement account? Where is it invested? Oh, I don't know where it's invested. I don't know what it's doing. It's, that's the common answer. I don't know. It's not doing that well. It's flat. I'm losing money. Well, what's the most important thing about your retirement account, Julian? It's just the role play we're doing. And where Julian tells me the most important thing I want in my retirement account is this consistency. I wish I could just make 8% per year on my money. Instead, I'm going down and up and all over the place. I keep asking Julian questions over and over about his retirement account. So I get to know what you like and don't like about your retirement account. Because then you've just told me what you want is consistency and what you want is an interest rate. Guess what? I got a real estate deal for you. It's a fixed 8%. You're going to get 8% paid out. You're going to get interest every quarter and it's consistent. You're going to have collateral. You're going to have real estate as your collateral. How does that sound? All of a sudden, I just told him all the things that he's looking for in a real estate investment. He's not getting that in the stock market. So that's typically how I talk to people and find people. And then it's also typically how I figure out what the terms should be. The terms you and I get to pick, which is cool together. It's not something that's fixed where it's like, oh, whenever you borrow money from IRAs, it's always this rate of return. It's whatever you and I decide. If I decide I'm going to pay you 30% per year and I can do that, we write up a contract and that's what it is. Or if I'm going to pay you 5%, we write up a contract and we decide what it is and we sign it. So it's a very unique way of raising money. But again, like I said, it's everywhere you're looking. So if you're looking for money, IRAs or old 401ks. Like if you're listening to this and you have an old 401k from a previous employer, so many Americans have this, right? Almost all Americans the last 5 or 6 years through COVID, et cetera, lost jobs or changed jobs. If you're in that boat where you've lost or changed a job and you have an old 401k, you can roll it over into a self-directed IRA. And it's not necessarily too small. That's the other thing. People are like, oh, my 401k only has $20,000. You can do something with $20,000. You can be part of a deal. You can lend to somebody. You can wholesale. You can invest in Bitcoin, precious metals. There's so many options. So just don't, every dollar counts when you're trying to prepare for retirement. And so definitely don't, if you have an old 401k, don't be afraid to use it and self-direct it as well.
Okay. That's amazing. Yeah. Good to know. So if someone in the audience feels like that's them, that they have an IRA that's going up and down and it's not consistent, what are some steps that they can do now to prep? For example, if they want to go ahead and in the future invest in someone's deal or any other alternative asset, you can obviously plug your company here.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Look, we love to earn anyone's business. I know our service and team's incredible. My plug is just more my contact information that I'm sure you'll give again, but you can reach out to me, Instagram me, or go to our website, horizontrust.com, and we'll educate you. We'll give you more content to understand that kind of the right account for you. But really the first step is that if you've got an account and you think you're going to want to self-direct or put some of it in a real estate deal, the first step is reaching out to us, setting up an appointment. It takes 10 or 15 minutes to set up an appointment. To get your account set up. And excuse me, what we do is we set up your account and then we transfer money over, all or part of, whatever you want, from wherever it's at to Horizon Trust. That process takes about 7 to 14 days. So I think that's one of the flaws that some people have with this process is they think, I'm going to set up a self-directed IRA after I find a deal. Deals come and go quickly. So it's better if you think you're going to do it to get your account and your money set up at Horizon Trust. So when the deal does come, you can fund it because once you have your money with us, within a day or two, we can release that money to title or wherever it needs to go to fund a deal. So really the first step is reach out to us via email, social media, website, set an appointment, get your money set up with us at Horizon Trust. And once it's there, you're ready to take action. So when that deal comes up in the next month, 2 or 3, you'll be good to go.
Amazing. All right. And just to be, curious here on this, is there any legal or tax implications that we should be aware of when using IRAs for real estate investing that we can?
Well, you've just plugged me perfect to share what I usually share, which is I'm not an attorney and I'm not a CPA. So you definitely should reach out to your own legal and your own CPA. But I can share with you, that besides that there are implications. You got to make sure that you do your due diligence. And sometimes you need to make sure that certain investments you have are regulated or registered with the SEC. You just want to make sure they're on the up and up as well as you're investing with. Then from a CPA or tax perspective, you want to have the right type of retirement account. And so you want to make sure that you keep the assets that you have in your IRA titled in the name of your IRA. For example, let's say, Julian, you want to invest with your IRA into a real estate deal. And so you get all the documentation and they list the documentation in your name as the owner, but your IRA funded it. Can't do that. It'd be a huge tax problem. What needs to happen is your IRA needs to own the percentage of the deal. So it'd be the investing, instead of it be Julian Castle, it'll be Horizon Trust Company, FBO, Julian Castle's Roth IRA. That would be the owner in the contract. And so making sure the vesting's correct. That way, when the profits come out of the deal, it goes back into your Horizon Trust Roth account. So it goes in that way, it comes out that way, the vesting's that way. That's how you kind of protect yourself from any tax implications for the most part. So yeah, there's some rules, and we help everyone with that, with setting up their account, but it's not too hard to figure out.
That's amazing. Cool. So, this is very interesting. Could you share a success story with someone that used a retirement account for a real estate investment? Kind of like just, paint a picture for someone that for them to see themselves maybe doing something like this.
Yeah, there's so many of them.
Maybe the best one.
Well, the best one is they're like a wholesaling deal. Investing with somebody that's wholesaling, doing all the wholesaling work for you, and you can turn your $5,000 Roth into $25,000 in 30 days for an assignment fee. Wow. on a wholesale deal, and not pay any taxes. I mean, that's the easiest, quickest way to really quadruple your money in your IRA on one little deal. I would say more of successful things that people do, not more, but more consistent, I should say, is partnering on a deal. So on a real estate transaction, let's say we're buying and fixing and flipping a house, or buying and holding a property. Let's say we need whatever, $250,000, $500,000. Well, me and one or two or three others, we could put our IRAs together, or some can have IRAs, some will not have IRAs, but we could syndicate, put our monies together and purchase that real estate deal. And let's say it's $500,000, and then we can fix it up with our money and then sell it. And then those profits, let's say there's $100,000 in profits, would all come back to the owners of that 500,000 that invested. So that happens often. You can buy and hold real estate. You can buy a deal with an IRA and get the cash flow that goes back into the IRA. Typically, I recommend your IRA buying fix and flips or short-term deals. Why? Because typically your longer-term assets, rental assets, you get some nice tax benefits, and you don't get the tax benefits if your IRA owns it. There's no tax benefits if your IRA owns it. So if you're going to buy a piece of real estate and hold it, then that means you're going to get, some depreciation on your tax return. You're going to get some nice write-offs. Those assets you want to leave outside of your retirement account if you have the option. I like the fix and flips. I don't want to pay the taxes on those assets when I do those.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I didn't know that people couldn't get the depreciation passed down to them through an IRA. So that's a good thing
they can't do that.
To focus on. And so what are some common mistakes you see investors making with some self-directed IRAs?
Common mistakes are two main ones. Excuse me. Vesting, their vesting documents are not right. I kind of mentioned that earlier. Yeah. We just talked about it. You can't own things personally. Another big one is not doing your due diligence. Meaning, I might have my money sent to you on a promissory note, but I have no collateral, no lien, no safety, and so don't invest blindly and don't not do their due diligence. That's probably one of the biggest mistakes people have.
Yeah,
is they like a person and they just lend them the money and they got no collateral. And so I think that's probably a big mistake that most people make. You're investing in the people, so make sure you know who you're investing with.
Yeah.
And then this one's true, but it's probably not one you're expecting. Is the biggest mistake is not doing it and waiting to start self-directing. I think so many people have heard this message. And I can't tell you how many times I've been at an event and I heard you like 3 years ago or 5 years ago, and I'm finally opening up my retirement account. Do it now. I mean, 5 years of saving money in an account, doing 1 or 2 deals a year is potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in your retirement account. So just taking action, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes people make is they just wait. They think they're too young. They don't need a retirement account, and they're just wrong.
Yeah. We'll get into those two a little bit more. So first you mentioned that, you're investing in the people, right? And so could you give us some insight, some tips on how to vet people if someone is looking to get into a deal with their self-directed IRA?
Sure. I mean, for me, vetting people has been a bit of in my young 20s, I thought everyone would do whatever they say.
Yeah.
That's not the case. You learn the hard way that you can't just trust people for what they say. So most of my vetting is done through some background checks on people, and then I get references of people who've worked with them and who've had success. I love talking to their contractors sometimes too. Got to go out to the project. That's a great way. One of the best ways of doing some due diligence is go out to a project with that person, see something they've currently are in the middle of doing right now, see what it looks like, see how it's going. So I would see what deals they're in, who they're working with, how they treat others, and get some references.
Okay, cool. Do you have any specific companies that you use to do that background check on the person?
I should have the name. I don't. I got staff that use a company and does that. So no, I don't. But I if you email me or message me, I will get you that. I'll ask her after this podcast too, so I know it. But there's lots of different ways of vetting people. End of the day, though, it really comes down to looking at their projects. I'm investing in the kind of work that they do. And so I'm not really going to go after, I don't want to go after them if they fail at something, because they could file bankruptcy. And so I don't care as much about their personal guarantees. I care more about the collateral and the asset they're looking at.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's really good. And on the flip side, there's a cost of not doing this. So what is kind of like, the big idea here? If someone doesn't do this, like, what do they miss out in life? What are the potential, gains in money, or, what do they stand to lose?
Well, if I got time here real quick, I would, let me give you some numbers for a second.
Yeah.
So how old are you, Julian?
I turned 27 on the 13th of May.
27. Let's just say that you wait 10 years to do this. Okay. And let's say that you currently have $5,000 to start with to invest, which is what most people have.
Yeah.
And that you can contribute. How much do you think you contribute to a retirement account if you started now? $1,000 a month? Is that too much, or is that fair?
That's fair. Yeah, 10,000 10 to
okay.
Yeah, 10 to 20,000 a year. Yeah.
Okay. Oops, 37. Okay. So just a simple thing. If you waited 10 years, which by the way most people do, at 27, most people are not doing what you and I are talking about.
Yeah.
For 10 years, you just put away $5,000 now, and you put $1,000 a month away. You would have, in 10 years at 37, almost $250,000. You would have put $120,000 in over 10 years, right? And you would have made $121,000 at 12% compounded. That's $250,000. Imagine a person. There's not many 37-year-olds that have a $250,000 retirement account. Why? Because most people start so late.
Yeah.
The power of what I'm telling you is a 37-year-old who has $250,000 in their IRA account is going to have much more potential to grow that now to get millions when they go to retire. Now, let's just say that you kept doing that for another 10 years. Yeah. Just $1,000 a month. That's it. $1,000 a month. That's all you put in. You would have put in $240,000 and your account would be worth over $1 million. So at 47 years old, you'd have over $1 million in your account if you just put away $1,000 a month for 20 years, which is $240,000.
Wow.
At 12%. So time is so critical. And so people wait these 5 or 10 years, and it's ridiculous. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to go now to your 57.
Yes.
30 years at 1,000. 30 years putting just $1,000. So that's only $360,000 away in 30 years. That's $30,000. That's nothing.
Yeah.
That is $3.6 million.
Wow.
So the time is now. I mean, I share these numbers because that's why it's so important to start now. And so I don't know if could you see me when I was on the calculator there? I don't know if I went off the screen. Hopefully you can still see me, right?
Yeah, I saw you. Yeah.
Okay, good. So I was just on my calculator online there. So waiting years is detrimental to your retirement planning. So start now. All I did was put in $5,000 to start with today, and $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year. That's it. I'm not here to tell you you've got to, put away hundreds of thousands of dollars over decades, yes. But start your retirement account now. Start saving, start investing, try to make the 12% on your money. I didn't even put 20%. Like, what if you're real estate savvy, which I'm pretty damn good at what I do, and let's just say I made 16% instead of 12%.
Yeah. You
know what the difference is over the 30 years? I would have $9.3 million in my account, not 3.6. That's incredible. 9.3.
Yeah.
16%. Start investing now. It's important. Create your accounts for sure.
Yeah. That's a real tangible future, that you could have. And what is the reason someone would want to invest for retirement? What does a normal American do, and what can you do if you go down this path, and invest in your self-directed IRA and all that?
Well, look, so I'm sorry, repeat the question. What can they do?
Yeah. So if they go and invest in self-directed IRA and they get these returns, what what can they do when they hit retirement? Like what, and then what is the normal American who's not doing this? What does their life look like? You know?
Well, just think about this. Like if you have 3 or 9 million, whatever that number is, let's say it's $3.5 million.
Yeah.
At $3.5 million, at 10%, if you could retire at the age of 60, which is the math I did, 57, 30 years from now.
Yeah.
So you would have a little over $3.5 million, 3.7 million. And you just invest that and make 8 to 10% of interest. That's $250,000 to $350,000 that you would make interest on that money every single year. So that's $20,000 to $30,000 a month passively that you could make during retirement. Most people don't have retirement accounts, or they have to, they're trying to build it still in their retirement years. If you, Julian, had $30,000 coming in every single month off interest only at 57, 59, even with inflation, I know it might not sound like a lot, it's pretty good money. Yeah. That's more than a mortgage payment, Yeah. And so it's really the difference of you enjoying your retirement or working through your retirement. It's saving money now and getting active. And look, I'm also a spender. So it's not like all I'm doing is saving. I'm just very disciplined about making sure I save money and I also enjoy myself and have fun as well.
That's amazing. Yeah. Yeah, that's an incredible presentation there. And I know that you wrote a book, it's called Bank on This. What do you go over in your book, and what do people hope to learn, can expect to learn there?
Look, it's a lot about my story, how I got started, how money works, why people need money, where money's at. I go deeper into kind of the subjects we just spoke about. And so, look, I wrote that book 10, 12 years ago. And so it's probably time for me to write an updated book, but that's how I felt. And that's what I had gone through and how I had raised money in my 20s and in my early 30s. And so part of my story and the message in there is I'm not the best, writer by any means. Part of my message is really like, look, if I can do it, you can do it. I'm not any, sophisticated, super educated. I work hard. I take advantage of great opportunities when they're before me, and I build great relationships. That's what I do.
And that's incredible. I love that. Could you touch on building relationships and, how you do that, and, what makes a good relationship, whether in business?
Sure. Look, relationships are the most important thing in business, I think, in life. So what I've learned is everyone's got a story, and I like to listen and learn from others, young and old. I like to hear their story. I try to learn from other people's mistakes. I try to share my mistakes with others so people can learn from them as well, my successes as well. So the best way to build a relationship and or network is first and foremost listen. And then number two, do something that helps them. Find out what's important to Julian. If it's really important that, your family's the most important thing, or it's your business or your wife or your significant other, or it's cars, I want to know how I can connect with Julian. So I'm not going to, I think the biggest problem people have when they're trying to build relationships and network is they vomit up everything about themselves. Julian, man, I'm this, I like this, I love this. It's like, no. If you want to build a true relationship with Julian, I want to find out what makes you tick, what's important to you, where can I help you, where are you struggling a little bit, and then provide that a little bit of help and encouragement in that area. If I can provide that or follow up with Julian and be like, hey, tell me how that's going. That's how you build relationships, because then you're going to want to do something back for me in return, most likely. And if not, then you're not a good friend. So it's going to be constant trial and error, but building good relationships is critical to building your business. It's the most important thing is relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, totally. Listen more than you talk about yourself and really try to help someone. That's really good advice. Is there any way that someone could maybe take an actionable step right now, maybe get closer to someone that they could develop into a relationship that's more fruitful for each other, or for the person?
Well, look, everybody's around people that they hopefully that they look up to or want to learn from. And so the best actionable step I can advise anyone is find someone in your area, in your space, in your industry that you look up to, and go and work with them or for them. And whatever that means. Now, if you can't do that, don't want to do that, go have lunch with them. Take them to lunch, ask them questions, get to know a little bit more about who they are and what makes them tick, get to know their story. The more that you're around people that you look up to that are having success in an area that you want to have success in, the better off you'll be. You'll understand if they really are happy, if they really like what they're doing. You might learn about how to raise money better or how to find deals better. Find someone that's doing what you like and what you look up to and spend time with them. That's the best advice.
That's amazing. Thank you. And so I noticed, when I was doing my research, that you really prioritize family, and obviously as a successful guy, what are some of the steps that you take in order to prioritize your family and make sure that your business is, still in an upward trajectory?
Well, look, I'm a firm believer if things aren't good at home, it's hard to have success in business. And so you have to have yourself balanced. You got to make sure you take care of yourself, and you got to be good at home. And so, look, I think God helps me with that. I am a religious person, so I feel like there's someone bigger and a bigger plan than I am even aware of. So I'm humble about that, but I do think that's part of it. But then my love for people and my family is critical. So I spend time and energy on the things that are important to me. I don't just say it. I'm present and I do it. And I got to do better. I mean, there's times where I'm too much at work and I have to check myself, or my better half will remind me, hey, you got to slow down, or let's go on a walk, just you and I. We haven't been on a walk in a couple of days, and she'll give me a timeout. So it's being, again, going back to listening and spending time with the people that are important to you. It will resonate. It'll just make you a better person. So when I'm in total sync with my family, I perform better at the office. I perform better on a podcast or in an interview or on stage. If something's off at home, it's hard. It's hard to kind of put on my happy face and go into the office and have success. So so selfishly, I want to do well in everything else I do in my life. So that's why I keep a good balance at home.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. And I know that, you touched on a little bit on how, you're a religious person, and I think you served in Guayaquil, Ecuador, right? You're a missionary.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so how was that experience? How has that impacted you? At a young age, I think you were 19, right? Is that when you went in there?
Yeah.
Did that?
Yeah. Yeah. Look, that was a great experience. I mean, everyone should go on an experience like that. I learned a lot about myself, about how lucky or blessed we are to be in the United States, my family, God. I mean, I was 19, living in another country. I didn't speak the language until 6 months in, until then I figured it out. And so, serving others is one of the best ways of appreciating what you have. But I also was able to learn how to build relationships. When you're on your mission, that's all you do. So I think that's why I got good at it. Is I did it for 2 years every day, and talking to people in Ecuador. It was one of the greatest experiences of my life.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And so back on the real estate topic, just for a little bit, where do you see the market going? With interest rates being high right now and all that, like what do you see happening in the market right now, and what do you see the opportunity for either investors or people who are investing into others?
It's a interesting time with interest rates where they're at right now. Obviously, it's slowed the market down a bit. COVID really changed office space, so office space, I think, is being hit. I am a proponent of always buying. I can't time the market. I'm not. That's not what I do. If I can buy something and flip it and make money, or I can buy and it holds and it cash flows, then you should buy it. So I think wherever you're at, whatever demographic you're in, and no, I wouldn't buy office space. So I feel like that's not. But this is not my place either. I'm not an expert in office space, but it seems like everywhere I go right now, there's vacant office space everywhere. So, so that I wouldn't do. But in general, if you can buy an asset that cash flows with today's interest rates, you should buy. Because what's going to happen? The market's going to change. Rates will come down a little bit. And when they do, you can refinance and really cash flow a lot more.
Yeah, for sure. That's great advice. I want to touch on a little bit more on your capital raising, career or experience. I mean, what do you give, an advice to people that are wanting to do capital raising for other people's deals? Like what are the 3 or 5, must do's, or the process of like how to do that, well, and, to get to big numbers like you?
Well, look, but first and foremost, you got to do it the right way. So you want to make sure that if you're raising money and marketing to raising money or soliciting from people you don't know, don't have a relationship with, you have to have certain documents or contracts or registrations with the SEC. So first and foremost, do it the right way. If you're doing one deal or a couple deals, it's a small deal, and you're raising money from people you have a relationship with, you most likely don't have to get a registration with the SEC. But definitely, as always, consult your own legal advice. That being said, that's the first step. Make sure you do it right, because you don't want to go to jail or do anything wrong, right? So that's number one. Number two is when raising money is making. It's kind of the same thing. I'll say it one more time. Is do it the right way, but number two, do it from people that you know. Yeah. After that, you want to structure it the right way as well. So you want to find the right kind of assets and structure something that's presentable. Just think about that for a second. If I get hit up all the time with texts and emails and deal summaries that are just shitty, frankly. They don't present well. They don't look good. They're not organized. Or they'll say they got a deal and they're going to email me it, and they send me in 4 different emails: an appraisal, forma, a bio. If you're raising money, have a good concrete, spec sheet, summary sheet, deck. They call them decks as well, where you just have everything in one place, simple to understand, not overwhelming. So have a good plan, so that as you go out and talk to people, it's very easy to read and understand. So do it the right way, put together your plan, and then go out and hustle. And going out to these events and communities and social medias, and go out and start raising and talking about what you're doing. And so those are kind of the couple of steps, but making sure you have a good team as well that you're involved with or that you're working with, because there's some people that are raising money, but they don't have a complete team. You need to have a good team to help you fund these deals and oversee these deals. So if you're doing everything, that's fine. I've done that before too. But I'm trying not to do everything on my own. I like having people that are good in areas that I'm weak in. And so, putting together a good team, a deck, and, talking to the right people, doing it the right way, having registrations if you need to. If you're going to raise major money, like I was doing, we had a license to do that. So you have a license to raise major money, you can do that. And that's the other thing. You don't necessarily need to go get a license. First, go raise some money for one deal or 2 deals. Just do a little bit, see how it goes.
Yeah. Okay, that's great advice. What is like how have mentors played a role in your life? Have you had any mentors in your life? And you know, how has that impacted you in, you know, in your life?
Yeah, no, it's greatly impacted me. I mean, there's been three probably people in my life in particular that, as I grew, um, and as I got more mature and had more experience, and there's different mentors that I looked up to that I needed to get information and guidance from. So they've played a big part. I think their lifestyle, the way they treat their families, the way they spend time with their families, that's what inspired me.
Yeah.
A good mentor is someone for me that I want to emulate. I want to live like. I want to experience like. So there's been a couple in my life that really have driven me to work hard so I could live like them or be like them. And so, yeah, I mean, that's a constant. And there's still people like that in my life today.
It's amazing. What do how do you recommend, or what do you recommend someone do if they want mentors in their life, to be there for them and to show them, you know, how to be like them or live like them?
Look, the best advice I can give is one I gave earlier, actually. When you find people that you think that you want to be like or be more around, go talk to them. So go take them to lunch, ask them questions, hard questions, thought-provoking questions, and flatter them a little bit too. It's nice to be said, hey, look, I look up to you. I really look up to you. I'd love to know more about your story. And just let them talk, listen. That's probably some of the best ways one of the best ways I met one of my mentors was that. He didn't know me. I knew him. After he spoke, I asked him if I could take him to lunch the next week. And he was a retired guy. Like, he didn't have a business, but I looked up to kind of who he was and what he had accomplished. So I just went to lunch with him and got a lot of good feedback from him. So he's a friend today. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's great. Beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, I really, you know, we had a lot of golden nuggets here in this podcast. I really want to give people an opportunity to reach out to you. You know, if they want to get themselves set up in a self-directed IRA, what are the best ways to look at, you know, some more information for them to get started with you or in general?
Look, the best place is, go to my website, horizontrust.com. If you go to horizontrust.com, there's so much content, videos, and information. You can also follow me on social media. I'm always putting out little videos. Some of them are corny, but some are productive. Some is family, but you get to know me a little bit. But I'm always putting out content on different subjects and self-directing. So, social media, website. You can email me, Greg Herlean at horizontrust.com. Just reach out. Me and my team are very receptive, and we'll get back to you for sure.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. So, and what's next for you and the Horizon Trust Company? Is there anything?
Yeah, there is. I mean, look, I'm always wanting to grow. So for me, my goal is to double the trust company in the next 5 years. And continue to expand and create incredible experiences for my family and help my key employees to have success and make a lot of money. And those are my goals. And it's going to be a fun ride.
Yeah, that's amazing. I want to touch on a little bit on your Horizon Trust Company. What are the values that you guys have as a company? Or like, what do you guys share? That maybe someone listening, if they want to, be part of your team, that they could feel and identify with.
Yeah, I mean, we're big on accountability and teamwork and showing up. We talk about this. That means coming to the office with the right energy, the right attitude, answering a phone call, showing up for the client the right way. So, just the values of accountability and showing up for each other are a really big deal. We also try to not sweat the little things. meaning we it's still business. So we don't want to get too personal either, where we're into people's personal lives here at the staff. We want to know enough, but we want to focus on the business and keep the other things that might be a distraction outside of the office. So, but accountability is a big one for us, and showing up for our clients, and we talk about it all the time. And then making sure that we're accountable for all of the actions and helping people with all of their money. So, I mean, it's very critical that we do that. So yeah, those are a couple.
That's incredible. All right. Well, thank you. And do you have any parting words for the audience? Anything you want to leave them with?
Yeah, look, I'll end with the numbers. Don't be that person that's gonna just let $3.5 million not be in your account 10 or 20 years from now. Take action. Don't wait. These things are life-changing kind of decisions, and they're not too hard to get started right now. So love to work with anyone that wants to reach out or answer any questions. Message me or social media me, any of those platforms, and get back to you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the phenomenal questions, Julian, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Greg. All right, we'll hope to have you on some other time in the future, and it has been a great time. All right, for the listeners, please reach out to Greg if you find this valuable. He's been very generous to come on our show. So thank you. All right, guys.
Thank you, Julian. Appreciate it.
Until the next episode.